Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about the most destructive natural disasters in history. Get ready to learn about eruptions, earthquakes, and tsunamis that left their mark on the world. Imagine entire cities wiped out in just a few hours, landscapes changed in the blink of an eye, and the unstoppable power of nature showing us how small and helpless we can be. But don't get me wrong, this isn't just a story of destruction. It's also about overcoming challenges, about how humanity rebuilt after chaos and learned from the most terrible events. Our adventure begins in 79 AD, in the Roman city of Pompeii, a lively city with everyday life full of colors, smells, and sounds, until Vesuvius, a sleeping volcano watching over the city, decided to wake up from its ancient slumber. Imagine the terror. The ground starts to shake, the sky turns dark with smoke and ash, and a rain of pumice stones begins to fall on Pompeii. The eruption lasted 2 days, enough time to bury Pompeii under a thick layer of volcanic ash. Centuries later, excavations revealed a city almost perfectly preserved. Houses, shops, frescoes, petrified bodies. From the scorching heat of Vesuvius, we travel back in time to November the 1st, 1755. In Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, the day starts like any other, until, around 9:30 in the morning, the earth begins to shake. A massive earthquake, estimated at 9 on the Richter scale, shakes the city. Buildings fall like houses of cards, people run desperately through the streets, while the ground seems to open up beneath their feet. The earthquake, which had its epicenter in the Atlantic Ocean, created a monstrous tsunami, with gigantic waves crashing onto the Portuguese coast. In 1883, we journey to Indonesia, where nature's fury showed itself in a huge way with the eruption of Krakatoa. Imagine the explosion, a sound heard thousands of miles away, so loud it burst the eardrums of people 40 miles from the volcano. The island where Krakatoa stood was completely destroyed, sending a cloud of ash and rocks 50 miles high, making the sky dark for hundreds of miles around. Huge tsunamis, with waves up to 130 feet tall, swept across the Indian Ocean, swallowing islands and towns along the coast. The Krakatoa eruption had a worldwide impact, causing changes in the weather and strange light shows in the sky. In 1906, we crossed the Pacific to the west coast of the United States, where the city of San Francisco would be shaken by a terrible earthquake. At 5:12 in the morning on April 18th, an earthquake, thought to be about a 7.9 on the Richter scale, hit the city. Buildings shook hard, streets split open with deep cracks, and fire quickly started to spread through the broken buildings. The city's water system, which was broken by the earthquake, couldn't help stop the fires. More than 80% of the city was destroyed, and thousands of people lost their homes. On December 26, 2004, a massive underwater earthquake, measuring 9.1, one of the most powerful ever recorded, happened off the coast of Indonesia, setting off a bunch of really bad tsunamis. Huge waves, more than 30 meters tall, hit many countries around the Indian Ocean, like Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, and Thailand. Entire coastal cities were wiped off the map, like sandcastles in front of the angry sea. The result was a huge human tragedy. Over 230,000 people died, and millions lost their homes. The 2004 tsunami was an event that shocked the world because of how big it was and all the destruction it caused. In 1980, we're back in the United States, this time in the state of Washington, where Mount St. Helens was getting ready for a terrifying show. After months of seismic activity and small eruptions, on May 18, 1980, at 8:32 in the morning, Mount St. Helens exploded in a huge eruption. The north side of the mountain collapsed in a colossal landslide, the biggest one ever recorded. The side blast released a super hot cloud of gas and ash, that traveled at over 600 miles an hour, destroying everything in its path. 100-year-old trees were ripped from the ground like matchsticks. Rivers were turned into steam in seconds, and the landscape around the volcano became a gray desert. On March 11, 2011, Japan faced one of the biggest challenges in its history, the Great East Japan Earthquake, also known as the Tohoku earthquake. At 2:46 p.m. local time, a massive magnitude 9.0 earthquake struck Japan's northeast coast. The earthquake caused a devastating tsunami that swept over coastal cities and villages. Giant waves, some over 40 meters high, crashed onto the Japanese coast, swallowing everything in their path. The force of the water was so intense that it dragged away entire buildings, turning cities into a pile of rubble. The tsunami hit the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, causing one of the biggest nuclear accidents in history. Our journey now takes us to the Caribbean island of Martinique. In 1902, the city of Saint-Pierre, known as the Paris of the Antilles, ignored the warning signs from Mount Pelée, a dormant volcano that dominated the landscape. In early May of 1902, Mount Pelée began showing signs of activity, with small eruptions of ash and gases. On May 8, 1902, at 7:52 in the morning, Mount Pelée erupted in a catastrophic way. The city of Saint-Pierre, once vibrant and full of life, was completely destroyed in a matter of minutes. In 1976, we traveled to China, where the city of Tangshan would become the site of one of the deadliest earthquakes in history. At 3:42 in the morning on July 28, 1976, an earthquake with a magnitude of 7.5 on the Richter scale hit Tangshan. The city, with no warning and unprepared for an earthquake of this size, was wiped out in a matter of seconds. Whole buildings fell down, streets split open with deep cracks, and a cloud of dust and debris covered the city. The official number of people who died in the Tangshan earthquake was 242,000, but unofficial guesses say the number was much higher. We're going back to Japan in 2011 to look again at the Fukushima disaster, but this time we're focusing on the second wave of damage, the tsunami that came after the earthquake. Just minutes after a huge 9.0 magnitude earthquake hit the coast of Japan, the ocean pulled back, showing the seabed in a scary sign of what was about to happen. Then, with the power of 1,000 thunderstorms, giant waves, some more than 130 feet tall, appeared on the horizon, moving unstoppably towards the shore. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, which was built in a coastal area thought to be safe, found itself right in the path of the tsunami. The Fukushima tsunami didn't just make the disaster much worse. It also started a complicated and long-lasting nuclear crisis. These natural disasters remind us of nature's unstoppable power. We've seen how entire cities can be wiped out in the blink of an eye, how the Earth's fury can change landscapes, and how fragile human life becomes in the face of such events. But, in the middle of all that destruction, we also see how strong the human spirit is, our ability to get back up, rebuild, and learn from bad things that happen. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.